So first of all, thanks everyone for coming. For those of you who don't know me, and I think a lot of you, I'm just looking out in the audience, a lot of you do know me. But my name is Lisa Caesar, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer of No Studios. But more importantly, I'm a Milwaukee native. I grew up in Milwaukee. I live in New York now, but my parents, who I think are here in the audience, live in Milwaukee. My sister, who is here, lives in Milwaukee. And even though I live in New York, I call Milwaukee home. So we're very, my brother and I and our family are very committed to Milwaukee. So thanks for coming out. I know that this is a break from your day and you have other things to do, and you chose to be here, which is really important for us. So No Studios is celebrating its 1-year anniversary next weekend. This is a big, it's like, I feel like I gave birth to the biggest baby. I have 3 kids, but this is the biggest kid that I've ever given birth to. So this is, I'm actually as proud of this as I am of any of my, beautiful children. And so, in thinking about the 1 year that we've been in business, my brother John is in town, the owner of, and the, thought leader of this business is in town, and I was talking to him over the last couple of days, and I was thinking of all the things that we didn't do, and all of the missed opportunities, and just sort of mourning all of the things that didn't happen. And John said, well, why don't you make a list of the events that you've had at No Studios and the things that you have done. And I did that last night, and I'll share that with you now. And it was, I think what happens when you start something new, and when you're like me and you're a perfectionist and it's never good enough, no matter what's happening, the tendency is to think about what you didn't do. And what I want to do now is celebrate what we've done, which is awesome. And, in many cases, miraculous, especially in a city like this. So we've probably had over 400 events here since we opened. And just to give you a flavor for the diversity and the profound impact that these events have had, I'm just going to run through a list. And it's so funny because I started this list last night and revisited it this morning, and then kept adding because this list is not even beginning to be complete. But we had Dee Dee Gardner and Jeremy Kleiner from Brad Pitt's production company in LA, Plan B, come and speak with the Milwaukee audience in December of last year and screen a special screening of their films of Bill Street Could Talk and Vice. We had a book signing series that was inspired by our members with local Milwaukee artists that began a whole, inspiration of a book cohort with Riverside High School and Rufus King. So now that there are buses that come from those high schools to No Studios to discuss books written by Milwaukee authors with high school students from Rufus King, all inspired by a member. We've had Webster X do a live music session in our screening room with animation in the background. We had a watch party for CNN's United Shades of America, which featured many of the folks in this audience, including us at No Studios. That was fantastic. We had a program here, One Woman, One Vote, celebrating the 100th anniversary of a woman's right to vote. Here at No Studios, there are 150 women here dressed in white, and we had a screening, and it was educational, and it was fantastic. We had Dance Fest, which was actually my idea, to bring Alvin Ailey to Milwaukee, and we did a pop-up. I mean, that to me was the quintessential Milwaukee experience, where we brought Alvin Ailey in, but what was more important to me is we had 6 Milwaukee area dance companies dancing with Alvin Ailey, and what I thought would happen, happened. There was very little distance between the quality, and Alvin Ailey is fantastic, they're world-renowned, but there was very little distance between the quality of their dance and the 6 Milwaukee area dance companies that happened to dance with them. And we did it, terrifically proud that we did it with Sherman Phoenix at their venue, and did a pop-up and brought that to the community. Hashtag I am MKE. And I think Adam Gabernitz is here. So we've done 4 workshops. The last one was just last week, totally sold out, 175 people. These are entrepreneurs in Milwaukee that are starting their own businesses and basically do TED Talks where they come on stage like I am now and talk about why they're in Milwaukee, why they're starting businesses in Milwaukee. It just lets people know that there is a startup community in Milwaukee that is vibrant and important and robust that a lot of people in Silicon Valley don't know about. Sold out to the point where we had to live stream it to let people in the building. We did a women's financial workshop on the rooftop where we featured women in the financial industry. I was proud to be able to introduce to that. That's sort of my area of expertise. I've worked on Wall Street for decades. I was very proud to introduce that. We had my sister, leading the Glam Squad, where she actually won the audience award for the fall ball at 88.9. So that was sort of a fun thing. We had Artie Bollocks. We have a great relationship with COPA, the Coalition for Photographic Arts, where they brought a kind of punk rock theme to photography, which is really cool. We had a Get Lit party. We participated in Hip Hop Week, where we showed Coming to America. We had Medusa Jr. and Medusa Monologues, which I think Muddy Choi, one of our members here, is in the audience. And this is an example of the genius, I think, of No Studios, where we had a member who had an idea. I want to celebrate women, and I want to celebrate women in theater, and I want to give them a place to express themselves. And it was literally just an idea on a sheet of, on an email. And she made it happen, and not only did she make it happen, where we had a series of theatrical performances, monologues written by women, produced by women, acted by women, that her daughter, who is 8 years old, said, you know what, why can't I do this? And so they created Medusa Jr., which was, acted by 8 to 14-year-olds. We were the rehearsal house, and they had 4 sold-out shows in our theater, all inspired by one person. So the fact that one person could do this is, unbelievable. And there's so many more that I know I could have pages and pages, because I think since we've been open, we've had over 400 events, because we have an event almost every night, and we've been open for 52 weeks. And so, you can kind of do the math. Mostly not by us, almost all by our members. But I'll save the best for last, the second best for last, which is yesterday we had a creative sustainability summit where, it was basically a workshop where Seed and Spark came in, and participated in an event where they were enabling creatives who were entrepreneurs to develop their businesses. So it was a full-day workshop, and they brought in Mark Duplass and my brother to talk about, creative writing and screenplays and how to make that happen, but how to make it happen here. Not how to make it happen in LA, in New York, and the coast, but how to make that happen here. How do you express your passion and make a living doing it in places like Milwaukee? So it was incredibly relevant. We were sold out again, 200 people. And the good news is that we have a fantastic relationship with them that will continue. So I guess that's all to say that, my concerns about it not working, or when you start a business, you're kind of flying blind. You don't know what will work and what won't work. And what I'm really sort of pleased about is there's so many things that didn't work, but there's so many things that did. And it's not because we were brilliant. It's not because we were particularly clever. It's because the community embraced the idea of No Studios and elevated it and took it to a new level. So I think yesterday's event was probably the quintessential event that we could encourage, because I think that our role is to encourage and enable and not overwhelm. And I think that's really our goal. So that's, the year that was. The month after we got started, and the intent of No Studios was to be a creative hub and to enable creatives, and then John called me and said, I think there should be a social justice component. And I was kind of like, haven't we done enough? I mean, don't we have enough, sort of challenges? But I was intrigued by the idea of inserting social justice into our programming. And so I was really interested in learning more, but for me it was more of a task and not a mission. And after being in Milwaukee over the last year, I realized that if you don't stand for something, you stand for nothing. You're either in, and not just Milwaukee, but just in generally, you're either in or you're out. You're either making a statement or you're complicit in the absence of a statement. And so I think that the social justice component is not just a smart extension of what we're doing, but it's incredibly necessary. And so the fact that we're combining art with activism, to me, is the completion of our mission. I think we found our voice, and I think we found our project. And so with that, I want to bring up John to talk about the Social Justice Summit.
Very well said. Just very quickly, please, another hand for my sister, Lisa Caesar, who along with our younger sister, Beth Ridley, Beth is here somewhere, I think, really have done a phenomenal job of taking what was an idea and making it real. Before I get into certain realities, I just want to take a quick moment, as Lisa said, to thank all of you for coming out this morning. It's deeply appreciated that you would choose to come here, and I really want to extend a very special thank you to those of you in the media who are here this morning. Over the last year, there are many things that we wanted to do, much that we wanted to accomplish, a message that we wanted to get out, And we could not do that without the support of those in the media. There's so much going on in Milwaukee, across the country, frankly, around the world, but that you saw value in helping us bring our message to the community with, quite frankly, your column inches or your airtime. It means the world to us. So thank you for helping us get the message out to everyone. The message that we want to impart today is one that I think is probably one of the most important messages for us. As Lisa said, we wanted to come in and really be partners in bridging communities. Even where this building sits, if you look east, you see revitalization, you see growth, you see progress, you see pride. And if you look directly west, you see folks who are struggling with just basics, day in and day out. As Lisa said, she lives in New York. My primary residence is in Los Angeles. The problems that those cities and cities across the country and around the world face, they're no different than what Milwaukee faces. But Milwaukee is a city of about 600,000 people. 600,000. And one would think in a city of this size that we could come together, we could problem solve, we could look for solutions, and we could work together to make this community the best community that it can possibly be. One of the things that I say when we have events here in this space is I just ask people to take a moment and just look around the room. I mean, seriously, right now, all of you, take a look around the room. And look at the population of this room. Young, old, black, white, Hispanic, gay, straight, otherwise, I don't know, and frankly, it doesn't matter. When people come together, whether you're binge watching your favorite show, if you're sitting in an auditorium and having a communal experience, if it's dance, if it's a film, if it's going to a gallery together, it's about sharing an experience. It's about feeling something that sometimes can't be expressed in words, can't be quantified. It's just there. You know it. You feel it. And you feel it together. Roger Ebert, who is often thought of as a film critic, but I think is one of the great film journalists, I'm paraphrasing just a bit, but he said that at its best, art is an apparatus for delivering empathy. It's a cause for bringing people together and feeling things together. Sometimes it's just laughter and good times, but sometimes it's subject matter that is so challenging and so difficult that folks, they don't want to talk about it, and yet they'll go experience it and walk out of that space knowing that they want to do more and connect more and understand more. So for us in those studios, we wanted to have an experience like that as well. And I think if you go to most people in this city or in any city in America or anywhere in the world and you said to them, do you want to live in an environment where you had better connectivity with your neighbors? Do you want to live in an environment that's safer? Or do you want to work at a company that respects its employees? Do you just want to be in a space where people get along better, are more empathetic, and are dedicated to problem solving? Most of them say, absolutely. No doubt about it, count me in. But then when you start saying things like, you know what, we want to talk about social justice. We want to bring people together to actually work towards reform. We want to have problem-solving solutions, and we need people from different neighborhoods and different backgrounds coming together and talking about it. People are like, oh, geez, I don't want to, social justice, God, that's just liberalism, and that's just progressiveness, that's just kids talking and doing things. But the reality is, there is no more urgent need in our world today than people who are ready to stand up and fight for social justice. People do it in different ways because we all have different skill sets. Our skill set is art and artistry. Now, that's not always the way to solve problems, but I think starting to solve problems starts with commonality. It starts with empathy. It starts with spending time in other people's worlds, and it starts with people who have the capacity to explain things and put people in a space in a very unique way. And art is uniquely situated to do that. So there was a point in our first year when, as Lisa said, we have fits and starts. We try to figure things out. Some of them are just very fundamental. How do we keep the lights on and the doors open? Other of them are larger. We're having people coming in. Do we have the staff? Do we have the infrastructure for all that? That's what every business goes through. But I called Lisa and I said, look, we've got a lot going on, but I want to have a social justice summit. And her head practically exploded. But I really believe that we could do it. Not just us, not just those here at No Studios, but this community could do it. And little by little, as we put this together, in this first year, this social justice summit has grown from an afternoon on a Saturday with our partners at Marquette University into a week-long event that literally spans the globe. We're going to start in Uganda with a woman by the name of Jane Akayu. And Jane works with children who have been extracted from warlords, child soldiers, young people who at ages where your kids, your nieces and nephews are in school, learning, socializing, having good experiences, these kids are having automatic rifles put into their hands and told to go kill other kids for no other reason except that they may be from a different tribe or a different background. Jane brings these children out of those circumstances, out of that trauma, and uses art, music, dance, painting to help these kids heal, and more importantly, help them connect with other kids that days, weeks, months previously were shooting at each other and trying to kill each other. We're bringing Jane in from Uganda. We're making a stop in New York City to share her stories and stories of her children who we hope to bring. And we'll admit we're having some visa issues, unfortunately, but we hope to bring some of them as well. We're stopping at New York University, which is where I graduated from, and we're giving a presentation there. And then we are all traveling, Jane, her children, and also some professors from New York University are coming here to Milwaukee, which is one of the other mandates for No Studios, bringing the world here, making Milwaukee a destination for art, for connectivity, for problem solving, and showing people that like every other city, there may be problems and issues here, but different from many cities. This city is going to work towards solving those problems. So we're coming here to Milwaukee and we're going to have a week of events, screenings, art, photography, people who lived the experiences that a lot of us cannot even imagine, but have survived those experiences, thrived, and dedicated their lives to problem solving. Within that, we are bringing in folks from my network in Los Angeles, Frida Pinto, SAG-nominated actress, who's coming in. One of her causes is human trafficking, and will be participating in a panel on human trafficking during the Social Justice Summit. An amazing young actor I had the opportunity to work with on American Crime named Richard Cabral, Emmy-nominated actor, who just years before I had the opportunity to work with him had been incarcerated for attempted murder, but had decided while he was sitting in a prison cell where his relatives, his friends and peers had sat in similar cells, he wasn't going to go back to prison. He wasn't going to have that be his life, and decided, a young Hispanic man, tattoos all over his body, a guy who would walk into a place and people would be so ready to judge him, he was going to be an actor. He was going to turn his life around and not only do that and just, hey, I'm going to act and do this, but spends the vast majority of his time when he's not performing going back to prisons, going back to places where young people are at risk and telling them through his lived experience, that does not have to be your experience. And I'll tell you very quickly, there was another actor on our third season of American Crime who came in and read for a part playing Richard's brother. After I cast him, just thinking he was a terrific actor, he told me He had been incarcerated, and he had seen Richard and knew about how Richard had turned around his life, became an actor, I didn't know it, and cast him as Richard's brother in the television series. That's the power of change. And that's the power that we want to bring to this city. We're going to have speakers from Milwaukee. We're going to have speakers from around the country who come in. But more importantly, we have so much support from organizations here in Milwaukee. Our partners in the Social Justice Summit include Marquette University, include the Milwaukee Bucks, include American Family Insurance, and include Participant Films. Now, for those of you who don't know Participant, they're a film production entity in Los Angeles. They produce films like Green Book, like Spotlight. They did both Ruth Bader Ginsburg films last year, both the documentary and On the Basis of Sex. They're dedicated to making entertainment that does entertain, but at the same time has social relevance. They are allowing us to have an early screening of a new film of theirs called Just Cause, starring Michael B. Jordan and Brie Larson, and we will be unspooling that during our time here at the Social Justice Summit. And all that is to say that we want to be focused on art, we want to be focused on connectivity, we want to be focused on problem solving, but we want to do it in a way that encourages people to join in these conversations. Whether they're just coming to watch a film and walking away feeling something, whether it's looking at photographs from journalists and photographers who are trying to document circumstances and situations here in the city. Whatever it is, however people want to participate, we have an open invitation to take part in this event. Not just during the week, but going forward as well. As we're going to set up an advisory council to take the good ideas, the good work, the good energy, and make sure that flows through the year. It's not just talking about solving problems, it's doing what each of us can in our own way to solve those problems. I don't think we're Pollyannish, that if we do this for a year or 2 years, all of a sudden we're all going to be living in a utopia. We'll have our automated cars, we'll get our coffee delivered to us in the morning, and it'll all be perfect. But as Lisa said, if we're not doing what we can, then what are we really doing? Not everybody has the time or the capacity to spend each and every day doing the kinds of things that other people do. And that's not the expectation. But the expectation is to be aware. The expectation is to be involved. The expectation is not to leave it to somebody else to do the problem solving. The expectation is we've got to work together. No judgment. People come in, we're agnostic. If you're Democrat, if you're Republican, if you're conservative or liberal, this, that, or the other, if you're here to solve problems, come on, be part of it. We may not agree on everything, but good ideas can come from anywhere. Solutions have to involve everyone. We can work toward that. And I'll tell you something, for me at my age, it's a little distressing when you see young people, 12, 13, 14 years old, out there advocating, blaming people my age because we didn't do enough, and they're right. They're right. So we'll do more, we'll do all we can. All we ask is for partnership. We're not looking for money. We try to be self-sustaining. But we have accomplished a great deal over the past year, but only because of folks like you, of this community, of your peers, of like-minded individuals, who the only thing we ask is to continue to share our message, continue to share our objectives, continue to be engaged, because we're here for the long haul. We're here to be part of this community, and we're here to help this community grow. Every good thing, I think, in our lives started in this city. So even though this is not our primary residence, not for myself or for Lisa, our sister lives here, our nieces and nephews, our parents, who frankly have dedicated their lives to making this community the best community that it can be, we have an obligation to give back. So that's why we're here. That's the intent of the Social Justice Summit. That is our capstone event. But beyond that, as Lisa said, we hope in the next year to have another 400, another 500, another 600 little events that bring the community together. If it's just two people who didn't know each other previously watching a film in the screening room, or enjoying the art, or spending some time just relaxing on a rooftop deck, that's two people who just made a connection. And if all of this just brings two people together, it was worth it. That's it. I wish I had more to say. I wish I had more to tell you. But the only thing I can say, when there's nothing else to say, is thank you. So thank you very much for coming this morning. Thank you for being part of our journey. Thank you for helping us spread the message. I know with many of you, I'm going to break off and we will do some other interviews, some smaller interviews. But again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for being part of our first year journey, and we look forward to the future. Thank you.
And I just want to sort of end by calling out a few of the specific Milwaukee individuals and partners that we want to celebrate, because again, it's about elevating the folks that are here, that are actually doing the work. So as part of the panels that John just alluded to, we've got Dr. Debbie Lassiter from Convergence is doing a lot of work in the human trafficking space. We have LaShondra Verdon, who I think is here somewhere in the audience, who's doing a lot of work in 5 million spaces, but she's going to contribute specifically to the human trafficking. Nancy Yarborough, who is a survivor, who's also directing Fresh Start Learning, who's doing a lot in the human trafficking space. Peggy Rosca, who's going to contribute to our Fair Housing panel. We've got Maria Hamilton, who is here, who is my hero, my personal hero. And if there's one woman who can articulate the mission, it's Maria Hamilton. And I want to celebrate her in every possible way that I can possibly celebrate her. We have Frank Allman, who'll be speaking, and it's really important for me to celebrate Frank. As you probably know, he's the concertmaster for the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra. So important to have him as part of the panel, because there is no reason why someone who's privileged can't be decent and a contributor to the community. And I think it's really important to be inclusive on that level. And he's embraced this opportunity with all of his energy, and I'm so happy to have him as a part of this. Satura Takenev, who is a member here at No Studios and who's doing a lot of work to promote people of color in the media. And she has her own, she's an entrepreneur here and has so many voices that she can contribute to this effort. And Abern Gabernitz from Northwestern Mutual, who I think is here, who's doing a lot of work in the venture capital and startup community here in Milwaukee. And I just want to call out a few of the firms that support our mission. I don't even know if all of these folks have even been in No Studios, and it doesn't even matter, because they're like-minded in the sense that they support the vision of what we're trying to do, which is so much more important to me than actually physically being in the building or even knowing that we exist. So the Milwaukee Fellows, Running Rebels, I had the privilege of participating in an event that they had a couple of days ago. I want to call out True School. And I don't think enough people in Milwaukee know who they are. I feel like we're related. and I want to do everything I can to elevate what they do. And if you don't know what they do, I'm going to make sure that you know what they do. And they're our partners and our sisters and brothers, and it's so important that you know what they're about. Sherman Phoenix, who I feel like is everything I want to be. Like, I want to be who they are when I grow up. 88.9, the Milwaukee Filmmakers Alliance, MFA, who's, just done fantastic partners, and I just want to call out Molly Vey. I don't think she's here, but it doesn't matter because she's fantastic. And COPA, the Coalition of Photographic Arts. This list is not complete, but those are just folks that come to mind. And it's more about like-minded mission, not a contribution to no studios in particular, but just a contribution to the community. What we want to celebrate are folks that celebrate something other than themselves. And if we can elevate that, I think that that's a win. So that's it. Thank you for your time. And I hope I can see you at the Social Justice Summit.